Hello, I'm Dr. Lee Hildebrand from Lakeshore Psychology Services. I'm the director of my own clinic there. We also life coach people all over the country. It's great to come to you today because I'm looking forward to talking about a crucial topic, and that is true belonging. And what I mean by true belonging is finding in relationships a sense of being unconditionally loved, feeling like you are a part of and that you belong. So, as we look at this, I want to talk about, first of all, what is true belonging, and then move into some other aspects of it so that I can help you on your journey in regard to finding this in your life. So, true belonging is really what I would say is being seen for who we are without judgment from another person. All of us seek love. Often, this pursuit of an unconditional love or this true belonging seems really daunting. Many of us have experienced situations in relationships that really fall far short of this ideal. As I think back on certain relationships in my life, and I see that in my client's life, there are often times where we can find ourselves in relationships where it's one-sided, or we don't feel like we really belong. What most of us really yearn for, if you really think about it, is we yearn for a situation where we feel that sense of being at home with another person. If we look at this from childhood to adolescence, and even into adulthood, many people seek this kind of belonging. Sometimes it can seem like panning for gold to try to find this kind of relationship where we're sifting, we're looking, we're experiencing different relationships of different kinds, and very rarely finding that nugget of gold that really resonates with what we want in our hearts. This is a crucial need that we all have, and some relationships, in fact, can seem like a bit of fool's gold. They seem to promise a lot and have a lot of sparkle at the beginning, only to disappoint us later on when that person does not take our needs into consideration or does something from some selfish motives without really paying attention to what we need as well. When you look at this situation, many of us have to do what's called a patchwork of relationship. We find a little piece here that fits, we find a piece there in another relationship that fits. We really can create a tapestry in our lives that can consist of our families, clearly if you have a spouse or partner, and then friendships and other types of relationships to meet different needs and aspects in our life. In fact, I think there is a distortion in terms of how culture can sometimes construe relationship, especially for married people or people with a significant other. And that is that we're supposed to get all of our needs met from that person. This is a real distortion and mistake because it's impossible for any of us to get all of our needs from one person or one individual person. In fact, when I think of my wife and myself, she is an amazing person and has many gifts and strengths. However, there are certain aspects or certain interests and hobbies and things of that nature, that I don't get those needs met from. And the same with her. So I think in a mature relationship, it's important to know that we both need a community of people, which includes our family, which can include some friends, and it can include both friends of the same gender and friends of the opposite gender. Now, clearly in this situation, it's important to have appropriate boundaries, to have a clear understanding of what the parameters of those relationships, what the purpose of a relationship like that is, in a friendship with somebody of the opposite gender. It's important. At the same time, it can be very limiting to approach life in a vein in which you seek to get all needs met from your primary relationship, and then any other relationship with other people or even someone of the opposite gender is very surfacey. Many of us need depths, and we need dynamicness in our relationships. And you can enjoy this in different contexts and group situations. When I was in high school, I was in cross country, and that was one of my favorite sports. I love a lot of other team sports, but part of what I liked about the cross country was the sense of camaraderie. It was a co-ed group, guys and gals, working together for a purpose, and there was so much support and camaraderie. In fact, that's part of why I'm in a run team at this juncture of my life, to be able to enjoy that experience. It's very fulfilling to be working toward a goal like that and having fun with it with other people. And there's many other contexts where you can experience this, whether it be certain groups related to a hobby or a religious institution, your church, your synagogue, etc., where you can enjoy dynamic relationships and good conversation and connection with people across the spectrum, and in having some depth in that discussion, that relationship, having some nurturing and some emotional support. Now let's ask ourselves, what are some of the obstacles to true belonging that you might experience? Well, I think one of the biggest obstacles for some people at times with this experience is shame. Shame is a belief that we are not enough, that we are less than. In contrast to guilt, guilt is a sense that we did something wrong that we feel that we need to repent of or repair the damage. Guilt is fine. Guilt is appropriate. Shame, on the other hand, functions to take us down, to take us to our lowest common denominator, and can lead to depression and a distorted view of ourselves. I submit to you that each one of us is an awesome human being, a beautiful daughter or son of God, so to speak, as people. And we have inherent value in terms of who we are. Unfortunately, some of us have experienced challenges in our families, sometimes with friends as we're developing, through teasing and other situations like that, or trauma or abuse, that have led us to think that we are not enough, in fact, that we're defective. So this can be a major obstacle to experiencing true belonging. Because when you're looking to receive the support and care of another person, at the foundations, it's crucial that you are able to give yourself that love, that you're able to experience that love and recognize your inherent value. Another aspect that can get in the way of finding true belonging is there's a price that we pay to experience true belonging, and that is vulnerability. Vulnerability, or showing somebody else who we really are inside, can be a very scary prospect for many of us. It can take a lot to take down some of the guards and the barriers that we have in culture and society, and to allow another person to see us for the essential person that we really are, with our strengths, with our insecurities, with our weaknesses. So having the willingness to take this risk with the right, safe, and appropriate people is important in overcoming this obstacle of true belonging, that is the fear of vulnerability. And another dynamic that can become an obstacle here is some of us may find ourselves in relationships that are one-sided. You may even find yourself in a relationship with a narcissist. A narcissist is somebody that oftentimes, when you boil it down, the relationship or the situation is all about them. They do things so that you can meet their needs, so that you can provide narcissistic supply and attention toward them because of their deep insecurities. Now, many narcissists can come across as very charming and charismatic, especially at the start. But over time, you begin to find that in your interactions with them, that all roads lead back to them. So it's very difficult for those that feel shame and may not think that they deserve love, to find themselves in the dance with a narcissist and recognize that that shame cycle is just continuing again and again. So in order to find true belonging, you want to make sure that the people that you would invest in to find true belonging with are worthwhile. They're worthwhile to give them the pearls in regard to who you are. Now, I want to encourage you to see part of your life as a quest. And that quest is to seek out and continue to build relationships that are going to build you up. To seek out and find relationships where you can feel seen as you are to one level or another. It's not always the deepest level with everybody. Seen as who you are, where you can feel and experience a sense of acceptance, and where you can experience love. There are many different kinds of love. Of course, there is romantic love, or eros, as you may, which involves a sensual aspect, a romantic aspect, etc. And per our discussion earlier, many of us appropriately relegate that kind of love to our spouse or partner or significant other. There are different kinds of love, though, and different levels of love. There's a platonic love that you can experience in relationships with friends and colleagues, where you just really appreciate who they are as a person, and you know they really appreciate who you are. I want to encourage you to, within obviously the appropriate parameters, to express to those people in your life that meet some of those needs how important they are to you. To express to them that you really appreciate them, that you appreciate what they bring to your life. I want to encourage you to look to move past some of these obstacles to true belonging. The obstacles of shame, the obstacles of trying to be in a relationship with the wrong people, the obstacle of a deep fear of intimacy and vulnerability. What I've found in relationships, both with my wife and in a sense of eros and a romantic love, and in many deep meaning friendships, is that oftentimes we get back what we bring into the relationship. I want to encourage you in your relationships to bring your best self forward. Allow those that have earned the right to see you in your vulnerable self, to see the fears, to see the insecurities, to see the enthusiasms and the passions, and allow those type of people to celebrate with you and run the journey beside you. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to talk with you about this today. If you ever need any help or encouragement in your journey, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk about this with you and just encourage you in those challenges. And of course, if you ever need any professional assistance with that, our firm at Lakeshore Psychology Services in Mequon, Wisconsin, not only does psychotherapy with people face-to-face, we also do so with people virtually. And then in addition to that, we offer life coaching to people all over the country. So geography does not have to be a limitation in terms of the coaching. With this said, I wish you well today. I wish you many experiences of true belonging at different levels with your tribe or your crew or your circle. And I want to thank you for your attention and taking the time today to hear these things. Wishing you the best. Thank you very much.